Get ready, Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball.
Friday, May 22nd at 7 p.m. it's Scout Night. This $16 ticket includes Ferry Hawks Special Edition 2026 Scout Patch. And for just $25 more, it's a Scout sleepover and breakfast the next morning. And post-game, all kids glow around the bases. Saturday, May 23rd at 1 p.m. it's Matinee Baseball. And Sunday, May 24th at 1:30 p.m., Matinee Baseball.
Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
No one has the balls to stand up like I'm doing right now. Stop the crap already. We're all Americans. We're all equal. I don't see black. I don't see Asian. I don't see anything but American.
Hey, welcome to Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. Oh, we have a lot of things that we got to go through. I look forward every week to do this because this is my sounding board. Make sure you tell people to turn into Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. We're going to talk about a lot of the issues, and I'm going to be very frank. I'm going to be very frank with it. We're going to be talking about a lot of the issues, and I'm going to be very frank about it. I'm not going to cut no words. I'm going to tell you like it is. All right, let's start with what happened in the subway with this 76-year-old man that was pushed down the subway tracks, and this fella Jamal Burke. He's a Broadway singer. I mean, he's a real regular person. That just shows everyone. The mental illness is just not homeless people. It makes people that are successful become mentally ill. And he was involved with the police a few times where he was arrested. And what they did with him, I think they went to Bellevue Hospital. They gave him a couple of Advils. He was still wearing his hospital ID badge, and they let him out. And that's when he ended up pushing this poor man down the stairs, killing him. And we talk about this all the time. We talk about we have to deal with it. A lot of people don't know. Years ago, we used to have about 30,000 beds that were set aside in New York City for the mentally ill. I think it's down to about 7,000. I have a problem with that. I mean, mentally ill people are not going away. And it seems like a lot of the crime is coming from them across the board, not just homeless people, but people who are mentally ill, and they can become violent, you know? And then we talk about my beautiful Washington Square Park. Man, I love that place. It used to be so beautiful. All of a sudden now, crime is up, including assaults, robberies, and grand larcenies. Kids used to go there and play on and skate around. Now you got junkies all over the place. No one's doing anything. And again, my fellow police officers are directed not to get involved because when they go in there and they challenge somebody, right away people are taking video. What are you doing? They have a right for this. They have a right for that. What about the rights for the little children that want to play in Washington Square Park? You know what? You, the residents, you're the people that are voting for these scumbags from the Democratic Society of America. Keep voting. All my Democrat liberal friends, keep voting for these scumbags, and then you'll have no park left. Maybe that'll make you happy. And now all of a sudden, my friend there, Michael Rappaport, he went crazy after this anti-Israel synagogue thing. You know, he was up there, a friend of mine called me up there. They were over there at the Park East Synagogue, and they're letting them get away with everything. And here we go again, masks. Why the hell are we letting these scumbags wear masks? You can't identify them. Where is the law? A Hochul, Schnageltooth, a Mamdani. When are we going to pass a law? No mask. What is the reason for the mask? Here's the reason. So you can't identify them, so they can continuously harass the cops the way it is. My friend Scott Monroe, he's in Washington for cop. We're trying to get federal legislation that will ban people from coming up against cops 15 feet away. Is that going to work? No way. When you got a scumbag like Mamdani doesn't want to cooperate with ICE. Even if I get a guy who raped a little girl and arrest him, all of a sudden he goes to court and they let him out. The bail is ridiculous. You know what? They will not turn him over to ICE. What reason, Mamdani? What reason, Hochul, can't we turn criminals who are illegally here over to ICE? This is a federal law. America, United States of America, snaggletooth and scumbag face. This is not your country. This is America. And the laws are federal laws. We should cooperate with ICE, and maybe ICE wouldn't have to go into neighborhoods and pick these convicted criminal, illegal, violent criminals and picking them up. Let's stop the bullshit, all right? All right, now we started with that Park East, I told you. Now, just the other day in Midwood, again, these little Jewish kids there getting smacked, spat on, punched and everything. Now you got the cops. Cops got cameras on. Other people have cameras on. And they're told, do nothing. Back it up, separate them. Bullshit. You assault a police officer or you assault a person, you should get locked up. Let's go back to what the laws are and let's start following the laws. You know what? And all my Jewish friends, you were very fast. I think 40% of Mamdani's vote came from my Jewish friends. I don't know how it happened. Well, I didn't vote for the scumbag. Now, all of a sudden, you're starting to see his lies. We're going to get into that in a little bit, okay? And all of a sudden, Brooklyn, beautiful Brooklyn, is now become the anti-Semitism area there. You've got a lot of radical Muslims now. All Muslims are not bad. I'm talking about the radical ones. And the physical assaults rose 4% nationwide on these anti-Semitic attacks and all that. And then all of a sudden, Mamdani's talking about the Muslim attack. I'd like to see how many Muslim attacks against Muslims against Jews. And I'm not a Jew, but I tell you right now, it's so prevalent, no one wants to deal with it, including Mamdani or Snaggletooth Hochul. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Mamdani comes out and he defends these anti-Israel protests. We like the protests. I think protests are great. Peaceful protests, not violent protests. And take the friggin' masks off so we can say who the hell you are. We have facial recognition. For all I know, you could have some terrorist cells that are demonstrating there, and maybe we could, if we could use facial recognition, we could identify these son of a bitches. And, oh, my God, free speech. Oh, well, we all agree with free speech. And then what happened to the free speech when that captain, what was his name, James Wilson, he had free speech. He felt like he wanted to say something. And right away, Mamdani, you made your commissioner put him to answering the telephones in 911 and communication. Because what happened to free speech, you little punk? All you got around you are those Democratic Socialists of America, communists. I know what you're thinking. Here it is. You think you've been picked by Allah to take over New York and spread it across our country like they screwed up all of Europe. Anybody watching what's going on in Europe? Every city, every country. I don't even want to go to Europe now. People are being robbed and beat, and women are being harassed. That's what they want United States of America to turn in. And their threshold right now with this scumbag mayor is New York City. Oh, I got my hair cut today. I didn't even want to get my hair cut because I'm so aggravated at what I'm going to talk about. And now all of a sudden, we have this. Anybody who's a critic against Mamdani, he attacks. You have the Queens district attorney who was married to Curtis Sleewer over there, and Vicki Paladino and a member of a family were threatened with physical violence. They prosecuted the person for threatening Vicki Paladino and her family members. And I tell you what, contrary to freedom of speech, it doesn't accept people that want to assemble and do it violently. That is not freedom of speech. So stop your bullshit, okay, please? All right. Now, all of a sudden, the New York City Council, they dropped the ethics violations against Vicki Paladino, and they had disciplinary action. And then it was, again, Vicki has a right. They don't want her to use the sentence that she's a councilwoman when she makes statements and all that. Well, freedom of speech, here we go. We'll control the freedom of speech. Like it was all about the Trump crap, the anti-Trump. It ain't about Trump anymore. Now it's the lefties. All of a sudden, the tough guys are the ones that are out there beating people up and all that. Well, yeah, all I know is, You know what? When Mamdani went over to this gentleman, Griffin, self-made billionaire. Yeah, that's right, AOC, asshole AOC. He made the billions of dollars. You can make $1 billion when you work hard, get an education, and know what the hell you're talking about, AOC. You're a fool. You're a bartender liar. You didn't live in the Bronx. You lived up in Scarsdale. You are the one that chased out beautiful business from New York. Now you're going to tell you can't be a billionaire. We made the billionaire. No, you fool. You know nothing about, you know as much business as Mamdani does. Mamdani has no clue about business. We'll get into that in a little while with his threats. We have a budget deficit. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Yeah. Now, Ken Griffin, guy who has a great company there, wants to put $6 billion into New York City, building new buildings. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about moving to Florida. You know what? He should move to Florida. I am not moving to Florida. I'm standing my ground, and I'm fighting for New York City, for the people that realize where we're going. Man, you look at the skyline of New York, how beautiful. And we got this child, this smiley-faced scumbag, Mamdani, who doesn't have a clue. And what he does, he puts all his disciples around, more fools. Everybody's from the Democratic Socialists of America. So these are people that don't have clues. And it's, you don't want to know something? We forget too fast when we had that chairman of that healthcare company that was shot over there, only a couple of blocks away from where Ken Griffin's home is. And this piece of garbage used money, city money, to videotape himself in front of Ken Griffin's house. How dare you? You put him as a target? Maybe some psychopath now knows where he lives, you ass face. How about I do it in front of Gracie Mansion with your ugly wife there? Hannah, whatever the hell her name is. Another winner there. All right. All of a sudden, Mamdani, he has this imaginary belief that billionaires are not fleeing New York City. You're wrong. I know myself 5 billionaire friends of mine who said to me, Bo, why are you staying? Get your residence in Florida. Why would you want this man taken? I think I'm in the 53 percentile of paying taxes. And I'm still paying. Even though I have 2 houses on Long Island, I still pay city tax. Because scumbags like you, Mamdani. I spend a lot of money in restaurants. I spend a lot of money. I have over 600 people that work for me, Mamdani, and I make sure they get paid all the time. When I run out of money, you know what I do? I borrow. So you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Okay. New York City Council Progressives. It's loaded. I think, what do we have, 6 or 7 conservative members? It's like putting your finger in a dike. It's so overwhelming. And all of a sudden, he has no idea again with finances. Here's one. Oh, I love this. Listen to this one, everybody. The board, it's called the Department of Education. And our students aren't doing too good in New York City. Excuse me. New York City's spending $43.3 billion on the budget for schools. Only 28% of the 8th graders are proficient in reading, and only 33% are proficient in math. We spend more money per student than anywhere. There are 793,000 students in 1,600 schools. We're spending over $44,000 per student for kids coming out that can't read or write. They go into college. They can't even pass a college entrance because of the lack of education, because you stuff all these teachers in there. Everything's about unions and unions and unions. Then they have these houses where rubber rooms, when a teacher commits a sexual harassment or sexual assault, they put him in a rubber room for 3 years. Fire the son of a bitches. Also, 150,000 charter school students in 285 charter schools. They're doing a lot better in the charter schools because it's more where they pick teachers for how they teach, not because of union horse shit. The Department of Education has 158 fewer students than a decade ago. 15% of the 249 schools 1,600 schools. They're operating now, listen to this, with under 50% of occupancy. So all these schools are half empty. So I'm not a smart guy, but Mamdani, how about we take that school, we put those students into there, and we mix them up, and then we cut your budget. I'll save $10 billion. You fool, you want me to? I'll go there with a comic book, and I'll bring along my granddaughter, Dana, and she'll help me figure out how we could cut this budget down. Waste, fraud. You know, people talk about Elon Musk. He was onto something. New York State probably is one of the biggest fraudulent and waste states in the union. We know about Minnesota. We know about California. Right here in New York with Snaggletooth up there, Hochul. You don't have a clue either. All you do is smile with those ugly teeth. And then you got Mamdani with his hi. This is what we got. We got fool in Albany and fool in City Hall. A little bit more about the school. Okay, now more than half the schools have less than 400 students. New York City spent 50% more per student than any other school across the country. Now, check this out. We all, K to 12 school spending, we have to take care of these kids. You know what that's costing? $35.3 billion. That's what that's costing for teachers and staffs. Education eats up 1/3 of Mamdani's budget. Now, the budget was $127, and I got some information this morning. Now it's down $124. And we're going to talk about that. And you just keep putting these uneducated, non-business morons from the Democrat, socialist America. They are curse words. All right, now we find out massive wealth shift. All of a sudden, nearly $2 trillion in wealth moved from blue states to red states. You know why? Florida, Texas, Carolinas. You know why? All the people in California, New York, and New Jersey, they're all running down south. You know why? Because they're respected. The police are respected, not like in these socialist city. Right now, New York City is a socialist city. In case you don't believe it, walk around. Dirt, scumbags on the street, homelessness, every aspect of a third world is now occurring in my beautiful New York City. I ain't going nowhere. I'm fighting, and I'm trying to get this thing done. We have to let people know. I need you to let people tune into my podcast. All right. Now, check this one out. This was a good one. California Mayor Eileen Wang of the city of Arcata, California. Who the hell knows where the hell it is? Check this one out. She's a communist spy. I tell you right now, you think she's a communist spy? When brain-dead Biden was letting everybody through our southern border, there were all these late 20s, early 30s Chinese guys with their little briefcase. They weren't family men. They were coming into the United States for one reason, to spy. Right now, they have their technology. They could shut up our power grid. All of a sudden today, my whole internet around my office went down. I wonder how that happened. They could do anything they want without firing a bullet or without throwing a bomb. This is what is going to happen. And the president is over in China with the Z, or whatever his name is, what a bing bang, whatever his name is. I don't trust him. I was in Beijing, China. And you know what? I stayed there for a week. They have a psychological thing. They want to take over the world. And one of their stepping stones is the United States. Everybody said, our military is so much more advanced. Bullshit. They got ASTAT satellites. They got killer satellites that can knock out our GPS. What if they knock out our GPS? What are you going to do, sit in an F-35 fighter and go, They have great technology. They knocked off Boeing. Look at their military equipment. It's identical from our military. Look at the Chinese F-35 comparison fighter. It looks like the same friggin' thing because they've knocked off everything. They've hacked into Boeing. They've hacked into every one of our corporations. Now we have all these heads of businesses in China. Hey, baby, I wouldn't have taken my cell phone. They're in you. They're in there. They're like this. They're like toy mites. The toy mites get into the phones. They get into your internet. Believe me, they are smart people. You might think I'm crazy. I am not crazy. My friend Scott Lebedo is a little off course, and I want you to watch last week's podcast. He's very good. He loves his country. I love Scott Lebedo, but I have a little bit different value. My value is I run businesses. I know about business my whole life. I know about public security. I know about public safety. It has been my life. Now, okay, now it's coming out with this group, UNRW, this staff. Now, allegedly, after that October 7th massacre tragedy in Israel, it's found out that these staffers were tied into Hamas and were helping these scumbags when they were raping and robbing and beating people up during that attack. You know, I like one thing I heard from my president before he left. He's talking about the federal gas tax holiday. I like this idea, Mr. President. Release the federal taxes off the gas. Give a moratorium until we can bring these gas prices down. Because, you know, Mr. President, you know who's suffering? The everyday people. The mothers that got to take their kids to school in their car. We need to get a break. And, Mr. President, that would be a great thing to do. You know, the gas prices are up. Bring them down, pay less with federal taxes. Let's give the people of America a little taste, a little tidbit. And again, when you had Elon Musk there, he was onto something, because the majority of lost money in this country is fraud, stealing. Look at even in New York City, I talk about it. I'll say it again. And if anybody has a problem with it, my ex-mayor friend, Eric Adams, $7 billion. No bid contracts for the migrant. I remember when you were out there giving water bottles to the buses pulled up. Yeah, that was good. Bring all these illegal aliens into New York. Set up these no bid shelters. Charge whatever you want. Charge $119 an hour for a security guard, but you had to kick back 20%. Charge to all these landlords all kinds of money. I think it was something like $10 million a week for the burnt-out Roosevelt Hotel. Half the toilets did. Nobody questioned that. Just take the money. And then all of a sudden, his top lieutenants all left. Why did they all leave? Because they were coming down. And then my friend Eric Adams, you should still be the mayor. You know what, Eric? I'll tell you your face when I see you the next time. You run away from me. You're a scumbag for what you did, because you left this city high and dry. You still should be the mayor if you weren't such a damn thief, Eric. All your people around you. You're telling me nobody was kicking up to you? Bullshit. And you know what, something? That's maybe why you became a citizen of Albania. I wonder if we have an extradition treaty there. Eric, you screwed this city over. I believed in you. I voted. I gave you money. I gave you money when you were state senator, when you were borough president, when you ran for mayor. I do fundraising. I believed in you, Eric. You know what? Cop, you were an ex-captain. What'd you make, 4 arrests? I made 4 arrests in an hour, all right? You were never a real cop. All you did was a troublemaker. You started that 100 blacks in law enforcement, and you were a troublemaker. You went after cops, so stop your bullshit. You were about as much as a cop as a Boy Scout leader. That's it. I say it like this. Hey, Eric, you got a problem? You're in good shape. I'm an old man. But I'll tell you right to your face, like I did with Mamdani, right outside the Oval Office. I said, stop fucking with the cops. All he did was smiled. And I said, I'm not playing with you. And again, this is going to get ugly, because I don't like you, Mamdani, and I don't like you, Governor Snaggletooth Hochul. You know what? I still want to find out what's your husband's business up there in Buffalo. Everybody's ripping and stealing. That's the problem. Now, let's get into our last subject here. I pick up my Post, which I love very much, the Post, and mysteriously, it was $5.5 billion that Mamdani the liar was saying we have a gap. And then Snaggletooth from Albany, from downtown, to get the DSA votes for her when she runs for governor. Ooh, I found the money for you there, Mr. Mamdani. We got the money. Now it's no more deficit. You know what this is all about? Mamdani's running a fear campaign. Fear campaign is what he's running on. Making believe all these things. I'll show you that. Now it's down no more 127. It's $124.5 billion now, the city budget. I'll guarantee you can set me in a team of investigators. I'll go through every department. I'll show you the waste. And then we could go up to Albany with Snaggletooth. I'll show you the waste in this state. They did it in Minnesota. They're doing it in California. Fraud and theft is our biggest problem. And you want to know our services, and you don't want to hire cops, you scumbag? You know what? Here's what I say. Why don't you use those community activists to protect you? Instead, you use cops. Why don't you leave the cops alone and let them protect the people in New York? You don't like cops? Don't have them around, you douchebag. This really aggravates me when I think about how much he really, really hates. The problem is, right now, our police commissioner, I really have a lot of respect for her, but if she ever leaves, he's going to stuff one of these socialist, communist scumbags, DSA, as the police commissioner. We're going to have more problem. And this is what's going on. But please, tell your friends, tune into my podcast. I just re-upped, spent a lot of money to continue my podcast because this is like Radio Free New York City. That's what this is called now. Radio Free New York City. Thank you, John Katsimatidis, for letting me be able to spill the truth. And if we don't tell the truth, we're going to go into the toilet bowl. Until next week, remember, tell your friends, tune in to Bo Dietl's One Tough podcast. Thank you very much.